Hi, I'm Chris David here with David Wilson of Coastal Homes and Design. David is a local businessman with over 25 years of home construction experience and renovations. He's a Sussex County native, and he's here to answer some of the questions that you have in terms of the custom home building process. Today, we're going to start out with talking about the collaborative process you can expect whenever building any new custom home. So, David, when we start the process with any client, it's typically a long format consultation where you go over a lot of variables, a lot of questions, identify whether or not a custom home is even right for them. So tell me a little bit about what that process kind of looks like and what it's like working with accounts and what they can expect.
Our goal is really just to meet with the customer the first day. We're going to spend about 2 to 3 hours with them, talking about what type of home they want to build, maybe their budget, talking about are they looking for what are they looking for in a home? What is going to appeal to them? Is it energy efficiency? Is it the openness, the design of the house? What type of features? What type of details really that they want. So that's really the first meeting that we're going to have with every customer, and just try to get a feel for what they need and want in their home, and just to see if we're even a right fit for them.
Right.
So that's that's one thing that they have to decide for themselves. So that's the first process.
Yeah, well, I mean, it all pretty much starts with the land, right? So should you purchase your land before approaching a custom home builder or maybe even a realtor? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so I guess as far as the land purchase, obviously it's always great if they have a piece of property to build on. That's always going to be a good start. If they don't, then we can recommend some local realtors to they can start looking for the process of land buying, but ultimately if they have their own lot, that's what really we're looking for, because then they're ready to go.
Right.
We can start we can go out, look at the property, decide what house is going to work best on that property. And that's part of our process during the second meeting, once we certainly give them a price. But we're going to want to go to the property and see, will this property support a side entrance garage? Or does it have to have a front entrance garage because the lot is just too narrow? So we'll decide all those, before they start going and getting their blueprints done.
Right. Well, what about those who are exploring custom home building in southern Delaware and maybe they don't have a plot of land? Is there a benefit to working with a builder before talking to a realtor or trying to purchase a property?
Sure is, yeah. Because if they have a home, most people know what they want to build. They might go on Pinterest and they, well, this is the house style that we like. This is what we want to build. So what you don't want is them to go looking for a lot that's not going to fit that house on it. So,
right.
If they're really looking for that side entrance garage, or they're really looking for that, let's say that modern farmhouse, style home that's, maybe a really long home that's stretched out, then they just have to have a certain lot for that. So, yes, but yeah, ultimately it's always better if they have their lot, but if they don't, we'll just guide them through the process throughout. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a massive benefit. In the past, when I was kind of maybe considering building a custom home, the first place that I started was just looking for land, looking for different neighborhoods. Yeah. But as I started to get more educated on the topic, one thing that I thought was really interesting were the tax implications of actually purchasing the land. And you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so when you go to apply for a permit, if you've owned the land for over a year, then you're not going to get hit with an extra tax on that build process. So just owning purchasing the land and having it, and then working on the design after that is always a good thing, because by the time you get through the design process, and that's one thing I think that most people rush through is designing their home. You know, they go to an architect or they go to a draftsman, and they show them a set of plans, and maybe something that they found on Pinterest or on coolplans.com,
Right.
something,
Yeah.
and this is what we want, or similar, and they start making modifications, but you really need to not only take the advice from the architect or the draftsman, but you need to sit down with a builder that's going to guide you through all of those fine details of your home. So, for instance, when and it wouldn't happen during our first meeting, but once we get into the design portion of the project, we're going to sit and look at, well, what type of trim do you want in your house? Do you want the craftsman style trim that maybe is a 4.5 casing that goes around doors, and if you want a certain look, then we might need to design your hallways wider so that it will fit a doorway where you can have those wider casings,
Right.
And still be aesthetically pleasing. You don't want to crowd things, so all of those things, for me, I think sometimes the architects might not get all of that information from the customer. They're just designing the house.
Right.
Whereas I'm looking at the designed house and how is all of everything that we're going to put into it work.
Right.
Does it make sense to have, if you have 5 windows and they're all double hung windows, but you're not going to open them because maybe you're just one of those customers that you really just don't open your house up. With the efficiency of homes today and the healthy air that we're getting in homes, most people just keep their windows closed. So
Right.
so do we want to put a fixed window there, or have all fixed windows? So we're here in the office now, and behind me is we've got 3 big, large picture windows here.
Right.
I don't need to open them. I just want to let in that light. I want that certain look. But a fixed window is more efficient than an operating window because it's not going to have as much air leakage.
Then a window that opens and closes.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about all that,
Energy efficiency and all that stuff.
Yes.
So at this point, they've either purchased the land or they are approaching a custom home builder to draft that. Now, you have access to a lot of draftsmen. If somebody comes to you with plans already, you have every ability to make modifications, to make those hallways larger, change the different layouts of the rooms, add bathrooms, things of that nature.
Yes. Yes and no.
Don't want to be over-promising here.
Yeah. What we don't like is probably someone that just purchases a set of plans online.
Which a lot of people do, right?
A lot of people do. It's not really something that we're excited about, because then trying to get modifications made to those plans just becomes very tough.
Right.
So we want you to have someone that you're working with locally, because then you can go back and make all those modifications. Because I get it all the time where people will bring a set of plans to me and they say, this is what we want to build, we love it, we've showed it to all of our friends, and then during that process where I'm sitting down and I'm going through all those details, within 2 hours, I've shown them 30 different things that I don't like about the house, or that I would do differently. Maybe that I don't like, but I'm just going to be honest with the customer, and I'm just going to try to bring that creative side, to the project and say, this is the reason why I don't like this. And most of the time, the customer, it brings it to their light. They're like, yeah, we didn't pick up on that.
Right.
The architect just drew them, and we didn't realize that room wasn't big enough, or this wasn't going to fit, or you're thinking. I even think about furniture. How's the furniture going to be laid out? Is the TV is the TV really going to be centered in your bedroom? If you have a door there, why not move the door over some? So we're going to look at all that and try to. So it's nice to be able to work with a local architect or local draftsman that can make those changes. We can take them back to them. They're probably going to make changes, and then we're going to have more changes. So we don't rush that process, and I don't encourage anyone to just get plans online and just build the house, because you're probably not going to be happy
Does
with
that happen a lot?
yeah, I mean, I think it happens. Or people, I think with a lot of people coming in from out of state, I think they will, go through developments of like, these large developments and look at these model homes and
Right.
I want that one because it looks really pretty in the model, when they walk through. However, it just doesn't really fit their lifestyle or what they're wanting to get out of it. And then they get moved in and then they realize that the living room's just too small for entertaining like they wanted to. It looked pretty.
Yeah.
It was designed very nice I mean, the designers had everything done right, and so aesthetically it was pleasing, but it just didn't fit their lifestyle. So
I think that kind of brings up a good point, and I don't want to derail the conversation about that initial consult and the different steps required in this phase, but there's a lot of local builders that they will market themselves as being fully custom builders, but in reality, you're picking from a few swatches, and those are kind of your options and layouts, of course. But where you guys kind of bring a breath of fresh air is the ability to truly make that home custom from the ground up, from everything from the exterior to the interior to the layouts. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty big value proposition.
yeah, so and I'll just touch on one thing before I get to that. But the exterior of the home, when you're picking out your you're trying to figure out what you want to build, and we always recommend for people not to start with the interior. I want to start with the exterior portion of the home, because ultimately that's what you want your house to look like. We'll redesign the inside walls to make it work to what your needs are. So figure out the outside first, and then we can always modify the inside. And then, so what you were asking about is custom. So we certainly are a true custom builder. So I won't say that we won't do anything, but I mean, we'll figure it out, So if you want some details that that no one's done before, we'll figure it out. We're willing to do it for you. Whereas you're not just going to come here to our design center and just make a selection.
It's not a customized home; it's a custom home.
It is a custom home. So,
sounds similar.
So we're here in Lewis, and the great thing about being where we are located is we're within 5 minutes of pretty much every supplier that we use. So if we're talking about windows, and we can send you, if you're looking for a vinyl window because that's more into your budget range, we'll send you to right here to Quality Roofing to look at a Viwenco or Simonton window. If you're looking for more high end, we're probably going to send you to Atlantic Millwork for a Marvin window, or Builder Supply for an Anderson window. They're going to be more on the high end, more efficient windows. They're also going to cost more, but it's just a better, ultimately a better product.
Yeah.
So we've got OC Gallery and Anderson Carpet One, which are flooring suppliers. We've got Tile Market, which
where we got our tile. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a cabinet supplier that's local. So pretty much within 5 minutes, you can go make your siding selections, shingles, flooring, windows, doors, pretty much everything within 5 minutes of our location. So when the customer comes in, once we get to that phase of the building process, we're going to be able to just go with you. Someone
awesome.
here from our office can go with you and help you make those selections. So we can take your cabinet door selection and go try to pick out your hardwood floors, or we can take we can go look at if you go to Quality Roofing, they've got an awesome board of just all of the shingles. So you can see 4 different black shingles, and you can say, I like that one because it has more gray in it.
Right.
So you get to see everything. That's what's nice about going custom. We're not just showing you a little swatch. We'll go show you the big version too.
Or showing it on a screen of some sort where you can actually pick it up, feel it, and understand the visual texture. And you'll guide every step of that process, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that maybe they haven't built a lot of custom homes. They kind of understand the direction that they want to go, but they don't understand all the idiosyncrasies and detail that really goes into making that vision happen, where they may try to like drive a conversation about a specific trim or window or what have you, and in reality, like that's not the style you're going for. Trust me, this is going to work much better, and you can collaborate on that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of really awesome questions in here that I kind of wanted to get to.
Okay.
So we talked about, do you need a realtor? And you had mentioned that you have plenty in your network, that you have a trusted working relationship with some of the best in the area. Also that collaborative process of working on through Pinterest or like essentially other mood boards in order to identify the style that you're going for. What about like, I mean, you really go into detail here about children's, having pets. Do you want an in-law suite? Do you want the option of potentially build an in-law suite on top of that down the road? Tell me a little bit about like some of those different options, because I've got children and pets, but no in-laws quite yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, everybody that comes in has different needs. What's nice about here in our design center, you know, we've got a large conference table, and the TV projects out of the table that we're going to pull up all those Pinterest boards. So we want you to do your homework before you come here. We don't want you to just come just assuming that we're going to be able to just guide you through everything. We need you to look at, you know, go on Pinterest and go online and look at, you know, what do your research. I mean, because it's good for you. You're going to have, when I start telling you things about some of the products that we use, you're going to have some knowledge about that. So, and then you might have more questions because you do have knowledge about that. So that's real important. But we're going to be able to take you through that process and show you every detail. You know, so you mentioned about pets and, you know, different things. You know, well, do you need a dog bathing station? You know? I mean, it's something that most people don't need, but but is that just something we're going to be building our new house here in Lewis in the spring?
Oh yeah.
And so we've got a little dog, and my wife wants a bathing station. So for the little dog, she wants to just be able to grab a wand, and she wants to you know, rinse the dog down and not have to, you know, bend over in a tub or a wash sink or something like that. She wants it convenient, easy. So I understand that. So,
well, especially coming back from the beach, if the dog's all sandy, we want an outdoor shower for that reason.
That's right.
We'll want a dog eventually. Maybe we'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do outdoor showers?
We do outdoor showers. Yeah.
You have to knock my house down and rebuild it, right? Before you. Anyway, energy efficiency. It's incredibly important to us, not just for our bills, but for sustainability as a whole. Is a pretty big core ethos in our family. What are some different options for energy efficiency, from the windows to even the different sides that the house faces?
So that's probably the one area that I focus on the most, and probably have I want to say the most knowledge in is energy efficiency. So I'm a huge fan of efficiency. What we're looking for is, you know, unlike, you know, most times where they said your house had to breathe and you know, or you would get stagnant air, we want to make your house so airtight that we have to bring in fresh air, but then we can bring fresh air in on our terms. So, so for instance, our design center here, when we, you know, built this design center, this building, you know, we used zip sheathing, which is it's a great product, but it has really good air sealing details. If it's taped properly and you seal all the joints and you seal everything up and use good energy efficient windows, then you're going to have a really tight building. So when we did our blower door scores here on our building, we were at about a 0.85, and that was without doing any other. We could have spent about another maybe hour going through and finding where there maybe was a little bit of air leakage.
What's that metric? Break that metric out for me, for the layman.
So probably an average house here in Delaware might score around a 2. So a 0.75 is what they would consider as passive house standard. So that's kind of the industry leading house. That's a house that is just so well built that it meets like all national standards of just the high efficiency home.
Okay.
Ultimately, that's what we want to achieve. When we scored that .85, it was so airtight that I knew that there was no need in me going any further. So what we had to do here in our office was, because it is so efficient and airtight, that instead of us having stagnant air, and most builders would probably just put in a fan that is on a kind of like a timer, so it runs periodically during the day to have air transfer or air exchanges in your home. We take it another step further. We would rather, so we put in what's called an energy recovery ventilator, an ERV. And what it does is it brings, when you have to exchange air in your home because your home is so tight, which is a great thing, then it brings air in through almost like a unit that's almost like a dehumidifier type unit, but when it pulls fresh air in from outside, it will dehumidify the air in the summertime, and then you even have the capabilities of even heating the air through like an HRV, but it will change the air temperature, humidity according to what that air is outside. So then when I'm bringing in air into our building, I'm bringing in fresh, clean air.
Yeah.
It has a large filter that it has to go through, so I know that there's no pollutants in the air. So if your kids have allergies, if your grandmother lives with you that has some illnesses, we know that you're living in a healthy home.
Right.
Because we're bringing air in on our terms. We've got air that is healthy, clean, safe, efficient. So I get a little nerded out when I start talking about the efficiency, but we're a big believer in spray foam. So we don't typically, now spray foam is very expensive, but it's just I would rather build a home that is super efficient than I would try to build a home that has average efficiencies, but then we put in like a geothermal heat pump, or we try to make up for some of those efficiencies with our heating and air system.
Yeah.
So in the end, you're going to spend about the same, but I would rather just make the building tighter, and then we can go with a smaller heating and cooling system. And then just longevity of the home. It's just you're going to get that payback.
Yeah, I love the sound of geothermal.
Yeah, so geothermal, and there's a lot of people that just they love geothermal. I think with the energy that the government had, the energy paybacks, geothermal. I don't know that it's such a good product.
Is that still going on
anymore? Yes, still people put geothermal in, but I'm just not as big a fan of it as probably maybe other people are. I think it was good when we weren't as creating houses that are so airtight. Right. But I think now with the way we can build your home and make it super efficient, a geothermal is not a needed product anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've got a heat pump, but it also has dual fuel. So, I mean, I was told that it was really energy efficient, and we've got solar too. So that's why we kind of went with the more electric option to try and we're trying to do our part, man.
Yeah. And there's some awesome, if you're getting into really efficient products, here in our building, our office building, we're all ductless. So we have 8 different units throughout the building. So we have ceiling cassettes to wall-mounted units. We have our shop that's heated and cooled. But ductless systems, and actually ductless systems can also be ducted. So you can have ductwork, which we actually do. If you notice those 2 vents above our ceiling,
right? Yeah.
This room is actually a ducted system. It's part ducted and then part ductless. So, but our unit is a 32 SEER. So whereas as a heat pump, you're not gonna be able to get. And when I say SEER, that means it's basically like a car, how many miles per gallon you get.
It's like the efficiency rating on there.
The efficiency rating, yeah.
Pretty high, right?
That's really high.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So a 5,000 square foot building like this, because we've made it so efficient, is about $100 a month to heat and cool.
Wow.
So
When I originally started looking into custom homes, I started seeing a lot of Amish craftsmanship, but truth be told, I don't know a whole lot about it. Is it better than other craftsmanship? And so essentially, what sets it apart, and what kind of options do you guys have?
Yeah, so like for instance, when you're the Amish that we use is mostly trim and cabinets. Some framing too. That would frame our houses. With the just let's just take cabinets for instance. So we just don't offer just custom cabinets only from Amish custom cabinets. We offer another product line that you can it's a store bought type cabinet. That we've done research on and make sure that it's still all plywood construction, soft closed doors and drawers. So it's still a really good cabinet. You just don't get the a lot of the details and other things that you can get with custom cabinets. You can design however you want. You just have that option. You have less seams. You have you can go with larger drawer boxes. You can go with it's one continuous cabinet in some areas. So for instance, our island in our design center is about 10 foot long by about 4.5, 5 feet wide.
Right.
And it's just one continuous cabinet. So you bring it in, you set it down, you anchor it down to the floor, and it's done.
Whereas most of them are modular?
Or store-bought. So you're putting together multiple pieces. So you have seams and gaps and things like that. So that's a huge benefit when it comes to. Plus, you can just design it and make the depths of the cabinet deeper and the heights, and you can just change a lot of things. And then also we use our entire office here, design center is all custom trims. So we had our own shiplap made for the walls. We wanted to design our baseboard to look a certain way so it doesn't protrude out past the casing on the doors. So we changed different thicknesses of wood, and we had it all milled down and made to the exact specs that we wanted and the look that we wanted.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice about going with custom. It's just a better product. And I will say that even just working with custom trims, so for instance, if I buy crown molding off the shelf at Lowe's or from Duke's Lumber or one of our suppliers, that crown molding is coming from a factory, and it's milled, and the fits are supposed to be, if you cut a miter, they're supposed to fit well together, but they don't.
Yeah, well, nothing's more frustrated than crown molding. I've only done a little bit, but I've wasted a lot of it, let's put it that way.
Okay, so whereas when we get our trim from our custom, from our Amish trim maker, when you cut those 45-degree angles and you put those miters together, it's just a perfect fit.
Yeah.
There's no, you can get a 32nd or a 16th off on store-bought trim, but it's perfect because they're milling it right there in their shop, and it's just a better process. It's just better all the way around. Plus, for instance, we have a lot of shiplap here in our office, and we didn't, it's called nickel gap. So you have about an 1/8 inch gap. Well, I wanted something that had a larger gap because I just think it looks better, and I wanted wider boards.
Right.
So we had those boards made the width that we wanted with the gap that we wanted.
Okay.
And when you nail it and you install it, it's all hidden fasteners. So it's just
a hidden fastener.
That means when we secured it to the wall, all of our shiplap, there's no face nails. So there's no nail holes to fill. There's really no caulking to be done because the way we had all the trim made and in the corners, the way it fits, we have trim pieces that hide all the gaps or the connections. So
the little nail pops popping out.
None of that in ours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we can even get that. You can have that trim. We can have it pre-painted. So before it arrives, we've actually even had everything pre-painted. So there's no finishing to do out in the field.
Taping off.
And the nice thing about that, so when we talk about painted cabinets, let's just say when the Amish, when we have them make our cabinets and do our trim, sometimes we'll have them finish the trim or finish the cabinets well, obviously all the cabinets are getting finished, but you know, when you say painted cabinets, you would think that it would be a paint like you would buy from Sherwin-Williams, but it's not. You can pick any color as if you were purchasing the paint from Sherwin-Williams, but they use, it's basically almost like a lacquer, so it's called conversion varnish. So it's mostly lacquer with a little bit of pigment added to it to give it that color.
So it's really durable.
It's a hard finish. Yes,
Yeah.
super durable, much more than paint could ever be. So
Right.
that's the type of finishes you get on the cabinets.
I like to clean my cabinets with a magic eraser, but my wife's always yelling at me because it pulls off the paint.
Yep.
Would this lacquer like inhibit that from happening?
The coats of finish that they would apply to that would protect the paint finish, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely something to think about. Do you have any different options in terms of Amish craftsmanship, or it's like, I think you had mentioned options. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, so I mean, that would just be, we either have a custom line, which is Amish custom cabinets,
Yeah.
or we have a store-bought line. So,
Okay,
so we
that's
do
what
have
you had
options.
gone-
I mean,
yeah.
we're custom, so it's whatever is going to fit your budget, your needs. So, you know, you don't have to use, I prefer a Marvin window. It's a fiberglass window, but it doesn't suit everyone's budget.
Right,
So
right.
it's what can you afford?
Sure, as is all things with life.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
let's talk a little bit about next steps in the design process. So you offer a design package, and it's kind of like a lower risk that if somebody wants to move forward through the collaborative process, develop the blueprints, and heaven forbid, whatever reason they wanted to use that with another builder, you have everything pre-packaged and ready to go. So there is a real intrinsic value through going through that process and a tangible takeaway, which lowers the risk for anybody out there who doesn't like risk.
yeah. So when we started Coastal Homes and Design, there was a couple different reasons why. Because we have our Wilson Contracting, which has been in business for 25 years now. And then in 2009, we started Delaware Crawl Space Company division. Both are great companies. They're successful, and they're kind of standalone. But the reason we started the Coastal Homes and Design division of our business is two reasons. My daughter right now is in her second year at Auburn University, so she's going for interior design. So we knew that was going to be potentially a part of the company at some point, where we're going to be able to not only help you with the build process, but help you, my daughter, we're hoping will be able to help you with the design process.
And plays into the family operated business, owned and operated.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yep. And we are definitely a family business. I mean, we have multiple family members that work here at our company. So that's what's kind of awesome about it. But the other reason was, so Coastal Homes and Design. So we not only, hopefully my daughter's going to be able to help you design the interior, but we help you design the entire house. So when we're looking at, outside features, what type of, do you want vinyl siding, or do you want a better siding like a hardy cement board? Do you want all AZEK trim, which is like a PVC type product?
Right.
So we're going to help you through that phase during our whole construction meetings. But we offer one other thing that I don't really know that anyone else is doing. When we bring customers in, we offer them a package to where you're going to be able to come here, work with us on getting your blueprints designed the way you ultimately want them. But we're going to help. We'll give you so many hours that we help you through that process for a fee. At the end of that, you're going to pay us to help you design the house and get all the things you want in it, and you don't have to use us as a builder. So I think that's just kind of one thing. When you go to other builders, you're only going to get their time or their expertise if you go with them. We're willing to, bring a customer in that we don't know is going to build with us and help them through the entire design phase. And then they can take a set of working blueprints with all of these options, and we'll talk about the efficiency of windows and what windows to use and what type of insulation they should use, and we'll help them design their entire house. and they can take those set of working blueprints and go get a price from another builder if they want.
Yeah.
Now, we pretty much know that if we get you in the door and we help you through all that process, more than likely you're probably going to stay with us because you feel comfortable. You've done research, you know it's a builder that you want to use, but we still offer that service. And that's just being on the creative side. We just bring that creativity to your project. We're just not. So even when I go to customers' homes and they already have a set of working blueprints, I just don't say, yes, we can build that. I'm going to say, I don't like this, and this is why, and I think we should change this. Even though it involves more of my time, I want the customer ultimately to be happy with the project and know that I've taken the time to really help them and guide them, and I'm there for them, not just there to just make a dollar. You know?
Right, and your reputation and everything else on the line. What's the timeline look like for that design process?
So, depending on how busy our architects or draftsmen are, during that process, but typically between our time and then we'll probably go back and forth with our draftsmen to make multiple changes throughout that. So we're going to get a set of plans done. We make a lot of changes. We send them back to him. He's going to edit and then bring them back to us. So during that process, you can probably anticipate 3 months.
Okay.
At least 3 months to get a house from, hey, here's a picture of what we want.
Sure.
And hey, here's the final blueprints of what we're going to build. And with that, you're going to have the knowledge to where I think the average builder is not educating their customer. Mm-hmm. We hope that when you leave here, whether you build with us or not, that you leave here with education on, the reason why you're using that particular window. The reason why you're using that heat pump or that HVAC system. Why did we use ductless in this part of the house, but we didn't use it here? And the homeowner should already know those answers because we've educated you why. Why did you use the spray foam? Why did you spend an extra $12,000 to spray foam your house?
Yeah.
Well, this is the reason why.
Sure.
So.
Wow. Well, 3 months sounds aggressive, but also at the end of that process, they'll understand exactly how much that house is actually going to build through the remaining part of the process.
Oh yeah, and if we're going to not only educate you, but explain that this product is going to up the price by $10,000. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to just try to put everything in the blueprint that we think you should have if it doesn't suit your budget.
Right.
So we're going to look at, well, if we don't go with all spray foam, here's another option that we can go with, maybe a hybrid method to where we can still give you an energy efficient house, but it doesn't cost quite as much. And we can look at other air sealing details or other window options, or like I said, going with maybe some fixed windows on windows that you're never going to open.
Right.
So naturally your bedroom windows, because they need to be egress for a fire escape, they would have to be an operable window, but other windows can be fixed, and that's going to help with energy efficiency. So.
Well, I'm hearing that everything that you do from an ethical and business point of view is in the best interest of the customer. And whereas I feel like maybe other builders might be looking for the upsell opportunity constantly, so that's a breath of fresh air. But in order to get the process started, you do offer a consultation, right? And a lot of these questions, not the draftsman and whatnot, but a lot of these questions are going to be asked, and many of them answered in that first consultation day. And then how long does it typically take to get just a rough price per square foot after that initial consult?
Yeah, so our first meeting might be 2 to 3 hours long, just trying to get a feel for what you're wanting to do. You probably have some pictures or something of idea of what you want to build with square footage, the size of the garage, and maybe porches, different things. And usually it's about a 2-week turnaround time that we just really want to get back with you with a ballpark price. Unless you have exact plans with all of the details drawn out, which most people don't.
And your land.
That's right. You're going to come to us and you're going to say, this is what we want to do. What's it going to cost us? And if we give you that round number of, let's say, $450,000, then you say, hey, that suits our budget. Now where do we go from here? And then you can either, the option to move forward with us and go through that whole design phase, which is going to be, probably about 15 to 20 hours worth of our time to get you through the process and get you to a working set of plans. But the first meeting, 2 to 3 hours, and then we can have a price back to you within a couple weeks usually.
Fantastic. All right, David, well, I've taken up enough of your time. I want to thank you for your time and all the information that you've provided. It's an extremely exciting time to be a resident here in Delaware, and building a custom home has never been more exciting.